You know what the family cook? We just
My family in
chef it.
Chicago, man.
Bring
My
us to LA.
family is from Chirac. I'm in Los Angeles.
Catch up, boy, on 4. No, I got 4 watches, 4 chains. That's Chief Keef's cousin Tato touching down in Chicago, flashing ice and talking bold on camera. The message felt loud. Anyone thinking about testing him better think twice. Keef still avoids going back to the city like that. One of his cousins returned to Chicago years ago and was shot right on a sidewalk, a case that still sits unsolved today. 10 bullets, no arrests. The news hit Keef hard, and people around him said he lost it for a while. Years later, one line from King Von stirred the internet again. My homie think I killed his cousin. Well, oh well. The quote had fans arguing everywhere. Let's get into it. Tato returned in late February 2026, and a short clip landed on Instagram. Within hours, it spread across every drill page online.
The catch up, boy. On phone them red, yeah. No. I got 4 watches, 4 chains.
The man in the video was Tato, real name Darren Rose, Chief Keef's cousin, and a longtime GLO gang member. He stood in what looked like a Southside Chicago block, rocking streetwear and adjusting his hat for the camera, calmly showing everything he had on him like it was nothing. 4 watches, multiple chains, at least 4 luxury timepieces, and thick jewelry, all shining right on camera. The kind of display that instantly gets people talking online. The full quote that started spreading everywhere was, "I got 4 watches, 4 chains, play me your on die." The line instantly blew up across reposts and reaction pages. In some versions of the clip, Tato even added another message aimed straight at 600, a rival Gangster Disciples affiliated set connected to O-Block and figures like Lil Durk.
Catch up, boy. On phone them red, yeah. No. I got 4 watches, 4 chains.
Anybody from 6-0, I'm back. That was the tone people heard loud and clear. Not I might slide through or I might be around. Nah, the message sounded direct. He was saying he was already there. Present tense, standing on the ground, jewelry flashing, and the words coming off like a serious warning. The clip spread like wildfire across Instagram Reels. Pages like My Mixtapez, Daily Hip Hop On Demand, Squid Ape TV, and Poetic Flacco News all reposted it fast. Then Facebook pages like Plug Sounds grabbed it too, while clips bounced across X through My Mixtapez highlights and fan reposts. Within hours, the numbers were crazy. Thousands of views, thousands of likes, and thousands of shares flooding timelines. Tato had been spending most of his time in Los Angeles with Chief Keef and other GLO gang members. Even though he had visited Chicago before, this video made it look different.
Play you late.
Tell him, man. Sosa's finna perform in a ride. It's been like, what, 10 years?
People online started saying it felt like an official return, like he was stepping back onto streets tied to GLO gang history. But that first clip was only the warm-up. Soon after, a second video popped up online. And this one left almost no room for confusion.
10 years?
Nah, we finna pop out her. Get it boxing on Folsom grade. Put the guns down, but keep them on y'all, folks. Push a peaceful, but folks.
Tato and his crew showed up on camera fired up, speaking straight into the lens about what GLO gang plans to do now that they are back on Chicago soil after being away for so long. The energy in the clip felt serious, like they wanted everyone watching to hear the message loud and clear. 10 years. That is the number people keep repeating online. More than a decade since Chief Keef packed up and left Chicago. More than a decade since the streets around that scene saw heavy losses. For years, GLO gang mostly moved from the West Coast, building their moves from Los Angeles. Now suddenly Tato is standing on Southside pavement again, telling the internet the wait is over. When he said they were about to finna pop out, fans in the drill community immediately locked in on those words. In that world, statements like that are not casual talk. This is someone directly tied to Chief Keef standing in a city where several people connected to their circle have lost their lives, announcing on camera that the crew plans to make their presence known again.
So, get put in that suitcase on Folsom grade. They gonna find your body.
That message drew a sharp line. According to the tone of the clip, everyone else can move peaceful if they want, but GLO gang is standing firm. And if someone tries to test them, the warning sounded clear. It could already be too late. There was nothing hidden about the message either. This looked like a direct statement on camera.
Y'all love Chicago, though.
You know that. We finna rock this. We still out here on Folsom grade. We started.
Filmed in a city that holds a lot of history for their crew, The drill community caught every single word. We put in that suitcase. Find your bodies in other states. That kind of talk immediately grabs attention online. When words like that start moving around social media, people know things can get serious if any real situation follows behind it. Supporters in the comments were hyped up, treating it like entertainment. One fan even joked, folk probably got suitcases on standby, laughing at the line like it was a punchline instead of a warning. But in a city that has seen hundreds of violent incidents every year, statements like that hit very different depending on who is listening and where they stand in the situation.
You know what the family cook? Or you just
My family in
chef it?
Chicago, man.
Bring
My
it to LA.
family is from Chirac. I'm in Los Angeles.
Then Tato doubled down and repeated the message again on camera, fold you up, put you in the suitcase, get you dropped off. Saying it twice made the moment feel even more intense. This was not hidden behind metaphors anymore. It was someone speaking directly to the camera in one of America's toughest cities, making sure the message came across loud and clear. And then he connected everything back to the name that started the movement, Glory Boys. GLO Gang, the crew built around Chief Keef that helped push drill music onto the global stage. Tato was not only speaking for himself in that moment, he was representing Keef's camp in the same neighborhoods where members connected to that circle have faced serious street conflicts over the years. Online reactions split down the middle fast. Some GLO Gang supporters said the energy reminded them of the old Chief Keef era, calling it a bold comeback vibe. Others thought it looked reckless, like someone stirring up attention. Critics were even harsher in the comments, saying things like he might run into serious problems in the city if he keeps moving like that.
They be chilling in Iraq, man.
Yeah.
I'm chilling when I got chefs in LA. They
Chicken
come
out.
do what I want them to do. Whatever I
Okay.
say, they be.
That's that.
No follow.
But underneath all the jokes, memes, and hype in the comments, one comparison kept popping up again and again on every platform. Instagram, X, Facebook, everywhere. And it was the one comparison that should probably make Tato pause for a second. The last time a Chief Keef cousin returned to Chicago flashing success and money, the story ended in tragedy. His name was Blood Money, and his story is a big reason people say Keef stepped away from Chicago and rarely looked back. To understand why people keep bringing his name up, you have to go back to the beginning of the drill era. Chief Keef, born Keith Cozart, came out of Parkway Gardens on Chicago's South Side and helped push drill music into the global spotlight. Songs like I Don't Like and Love Sosa exploded in 2012 and turned him into one of the most talked about rappers in the world before he was even old enough to legally buy a drink.
So put your in the car, get your ass dropped off.
Get your ass
Fold
killed.
your up like this, folks, and put your
Around that time, he created GLO Gang, originally called Glory Boys Entertainment. The crew was packed with close friends, family members, and longtime allies connected to the O-Block area. For a while, it looked like the whole movement was rising together. But by 2013, Keef started slowly pulling away from Chicago. The environment around him was getting more dangerous by the year, so he relocated to Los Angeles, building distance between himself and the chaos back home. For a moment, it even looked like some of the people around him might follow that same path. One of those people was his second cousin, Mario Hess. Mario Hess
case. You play, they gonna find your way.
better known as Blood Money and sometimes called Big Glow, was born on February 13th, 1984. He was about 10 years older than Keef, and many people saw him as a steady presence inside the GLO gang circle. Where Keef became the global face of the movement, Hess was known as someone helping keep things organized behind the scenes. He was also a father of 5 who had dealt with legal trouble earlier in life,
No doubt, folks. Stop playing.
including convictions tied to narcotics and weapons charges. But people around him said he was trying to change direction and focus more on music and business opportunities connected to the GLO movement.
Shit too though.
Yeah, I think it's with Chief Keef. I think it's just like
Blood Money was already making moves with GLO Gang during that time. He appeared on the GLO Gang mixtape Drug Wars in 2013 and linked up with Keef on the track Rehab, which later pulled in more than 13 million views online. People around the movement said he was also helping guide some of the younger artists in the crew, trying to keep things organized while the spotlight around drill music kept getting bigger. The music industry was starting to notice him too. In early 2014, Mario Hess signed a deal with Interscope Records, the same major label Chief Keef was connected to. Reports said he received a $50,000 advance from the deal, which was a major moment for someone coming from West Inglewood with a complicated past. For him, that was a life-changing opportunity. His manager, Ronaldo Ruben Hess, who was also his first cousin, had a clear plan ready. The idea was simple: secure the deal, collect the money, and move him out of Chicago for good. Hess had already been spending time in Los Angeles with Keef working on new music, and everything looked like it was lining up perfectly.
Niggas was trying to make him do something that he didn't want to do.
Pressure from the streets.
Like pay for somebody's bail or something.
I seen that.
And they was saying he got all his money, but like,
All that
I
money
feel
was
Chief
y'all
Keef
money.
though.
But then Mario Hess made the move many people from tough neighborhoods understand all too well. After getting that big check, he decided to go back home for a visit. He returned to Chicago to celebrate birthdays with 2 cousins and share his success with the same people who watched him grow up. He was back on the blocks where he spent most of his life visiting family and reconnecting with familiar faces. Some relatives later told reporters he seemed a little uneasy before everything happened, almost like he felt tension building around him but could not fully explain it. His manager had been urging him to stay in Los Angeles and avoid going back for a while. The warning was simple: get the opportunity and protect it. But Hess still made the trip. The reality about making it out of a place like Inglewood is that success does not make someone invisible. In some situations, it can actually bring more attention. Hess was posting on Instagram showing the new deal and letting people know the money was real. In neighborhoods where many people struggle to get ahead, that kind of visibility can quickly turn heads. One neighbor later told reporters that Hess wasn't too good for the hood even after signing his deal. That single comment revealed a lot about how some people around him viewed his rise. The jealousy was real, and the attention around his success kept growing. The tensions around him were real, and the moment he returned to Chicago, the clock was already ticking. On the night of April 9th, 2014, around 9:45 p.m., Mario Hess was standing outside a family home near 56th and Elizabeth Street in West Inglewood. He was outside with relatives, celebrating, talking, just spending time with family like any normal night.
And he got out and never looked back. Like,
Yeah, and then
and you see what happens to the ones that didn't leave.
Then everything suddenly went left. Reports say 2 armed individuals approached and opened fire, sending a burst of shots into the street. Witness accounts later said more than 24 rounds were fired within seconds. The whole situation unfolded fast, leaving people nearby scrambling for cover. Hess was hit multiple times, mostly in the chest and torso, and collapsed on the sidewalk during the chaos. Another man nearby, 28-year-old relative Darnell Patton, was also struck in the abdomen but survived after being rushed into emergency surgery. When officers arrived, the scene was already overwhelming. Investigators reportedly had to place index cards on the ground just to mark the shell casings because there were so many scattered across the concrete. More than 24 casings were counted at the scene. No weapons were recovered, and very few witnesses were willing to speak up. In neighborhoods like West Inglewood, people often avoid talking to investigators because of long-standing street codes about staying silent.
Now they still getting caught up. Like,
Pop Smoke
or
left.
dead.
They got his ass all the way over there.
Hess was transported to John H. Stroger Jr. Hospital, where doctors later pronounced him dead. He was only 30 years old, a father of 5, and someone who had just signed a major music deal weeks earlier with plans to leave Chicago behind. Now investigators were left with a difficult case. Police opened an investigation and even examined whether conflicts connected to rap rivalries could have played a role. Chicago's drill scene at the time was tangled with long-running disputes between different groups and neighborhoods. There were also stories circulating online about past confrontations involving people connected to rival circles, including individuals from O Block and nearby areas.
It's a lot of friends to violence, Mention some of the names. Let's give them a space right now that you've lost to violence.
My cousin.
But separating rumor from verified facts quickly became one of the biggest challenges in the case. Some people believe the situation might have been connected to past street disputes, including rumors about an attempted robbery tied to a property connected to Keef's Circle. On Chicago's South Side, situations like that are rarely forgotten, and old conflicts can linger for years. Others believed it could have been jealousy, someone from the neighborhood getting a big opportunity and returning home with money and attention. But no matter the theory, one fact never changed: no arrests were ever made in the case. Years later, the investigation is still considered unsolved. After Hess passed away, rival rappers quickly began mentioning his name in diss tracks. One example people pointed to was FBG Wooski, referencing him during a remix of Computers, turning a real-life loss into a line in a song. That harsh reality has often been part of the drill scene. Names and events from the streets sometimes end up inside lyrics. Mario Hess, known as Blood Money or Big Glow, was supposed to be one of the success stories. Someone who signed a deal, secured real money, and had a plan to leave the environment behind. Instead, his story ended with another funeral that shook the people around him. For Chief Keef, it became one more painful reason to keep his distance from Chicago. Now fast forward to the present and look at what people online are pointing out. In 2014, Blood Money returned to Chicago after signing a deal and receiving a $50,000 advance, and that trip ended in tragedy. In February 2026, Tato showed up in Chicago again, flashing 4 watches and 4 chains while sending strong messages toward rivals and talking tough on camera. That is why people across social media keep drawing comparisons. The similarities are hard to ignore, and fans keep debating whether history could repeat itself or if this situation will unfold differently.
Blood, my brother, Cap, Couple, Marvin, OD, White, Platoon, Keita, Lil Mo.
When Blood Money passed away, the news reportedly hit Chief Keef extremely hard. This was not a distant connection or a casual friend. Mario Hess was his second cousin, family. Keef had brought him into the music world, worked with him on records, and even spent time with him in Los Angeles while they were building plans for the future. Losing someone that close left a mark that people around him say he never fully forgot. Chief Keef's grandmother, Margaret Cozart, later shared something powerful that Keef had told Blood Money before the record deal even happened. According to her, Keef looked at his cousin and made a promise about how they were going to move forward. He told him, "We're not going to rob, we're not going to steal, I got a plan." And that plan was music. That was supposed to be the escape route out of the streets. For a while, it actually worked. Music opened doors, the deal came through, and the future looked different for Hess, but everything changed the moment he decided to return to Chicago for that visit. Keef attended Blood Money's funeral under heavy police presence, and people close to the situation say that moment changed something inside him. Not long after, he made a decision that shaped the next decade of his life. He was finished with Chicago, and the timing made the situation even heavier. Blood Money's death was the second violent incident connected to Keef's circle within just a few weeks. In March 2014, his manager's home had reportedly been shot at as well. To many people around him, the message felt obvious. Being publicly tied to Chief Keef in Chicago could bring serious attention. In a Billboard interview in August 2015, Keef later described the loss as a major lesson, the kind of lesson that changes how someone moves forever. By June 2014, Keef was also evicted from a home in Highland Park, which pushed him even further toward fully relocating to Los Angeles. But the move was not just about changing addresses. It was about cutting ties with an environment he believed could destroy everything he was building. At one point, he even called Chicago the city of hella haters, echoing something Kanye West once said about the city's tough environment. From there, Keef started building a completely new life on the West Coast. He got deeper into music production, collected artwork from artists like Bill the Butcher, focused on raising his kids, and kept expanding the GLO gang brand. Over time, those moves helped him build a fortune estimated around $10 million through music and business ventures. The shift did not happen overnight, but it was real. In interviews over the years, Keef has been direct about why he left. He made it clear that his people may still live in Chicago, but he chose to build his future somewhere else.
There's a lot of guys.
Did you just feel that loss of your friends?
It's been felt.
What did you do with those feelings?
Take them and say, "Hey, you want me to laugh this out?"
That kind of statement says a lot about how serious the decision was for him. Chief Keef later explained that leaving Chicago may have literally saved his life. In interviews, he talked about how the streets and everything connected to them were pulling him deeper while he was still young. When he moved to Los Angeles, the change forced him to grow up fast and see life from a different angle. In that 2015 Billboard feature about Bang 3, Keef admitted he had been young and heavily surrounded by street life when fame first hit him. He explained that leaving Chicago gave him the space to mature, learning how to hold real conversations, think about the future, and show up to interviews ready to speak his mind instead of giving short answers. Keef has credited Los Angeles many times for helping him stay away from situations that could have ruined everything he built. In several clips online, he explained that the move helped him focus on music, family, and business instead of constant problems around him. At one point, he even said leaving Chicago probably kept him from ending up either dead or in jail. That statement showed how serious the situation felt to him at the time. People close to him noticed the difference too. Back home, there was always pressure from different sides. Pressure to stay involved in neighborhood politics, pressure to respond to conflicts, pressure to prove loyalty. But Keef decided he was not playing that game anymore. Meanwhile, many people who stayed behind kept getting caught up in the same cycles: legal trouble, violence, and constant setbacks. Every time something happened back in Chicago, it only reinforced Keef's decision to stay thousands of miles away. Even after leaving, the city never completely let him move on quietly. At one point, officials placed an informal ban on him performing in Chicago, claiming his music could attract problems. In 2015, Keef even tried to organize a hologram benefit concert so he would not physically be in the city. But the plan was shut down by Mayor Rahm Emanuel's office over public safety concerns. Think about that for a second. A performance where he would appear only as a projection from another state still got blocked. On top of that, he continued dealing with police scrutiny, legal issues like outstanding warrants, and ongoing threats that made returning home even more complicated. That distance ended up keeping Chief Keef away from Chicago for more than a decade. Some people close to the drill scene even praised the decision. Rapper 600 Breezy once pointed out that Keef was smart for leaving and never looking back on it. If you go back to older interviews, you can actually see the warning signs early in the August 2012 Fader cover story. While Keef was still on house arrest, the pressure around fame and violence was already weighing on him. Even earlier, in an April 2012 Chicago Tribune interview, a 16-year-old Keef spoke honestly about what he was seeing around him. He told reporters Chicago had too much violence and too much hatred. That was a teenager already recognizing how dangerous the environment had become. Just 2 years later, that same environment would take the life of his cousin Blood Money. Years passed, and Keef kept growing while living in Los Angeles. In a May 2024 interview with Grammy.com ahead of the release of Almighty So 2, he said something that caught fans' attention. Keef explained that he felt better now than he ever had before, crediting maturity and distance from the streets for the change. That same summer, in June 2024, he finally returned to perform in Chicago at the Lyrical Lemonade Summer Smash Festival. It was his first performance in the city in roughly 12 years. During that gap, an entire generation of drill rappers had risen, gone viral, and faded away. Later in October 2024, during an Apple Music interview with Zane Lowe, Keef talked about how much he had evolved over time. He described the shift from being a teenager giving short interview answers to becoming someone who could actually reflect on everything he had been through. Even with that growth, he never forgot Blood Money. Keef repeatedly honored his cousin over the years, dedicating projects to him, using Hess's photo as his profile picture on certain birthdays, and featuring him on posthumous music releases. He even mentioned him in a TikTok post, listing people the streets had taken too soon. Every name on that list carried a story, and another reason why Keef chose to stay far away from Chicago for so long. When Keef sat down for that interview and they asked him to name the people he had lost, he did not hesitate at all. The names started coming out fast, one after another, like memories he had repeated too many times before. No long pauses, no deep reflection, just a list rolling out because the list itself is that long. 3 words summed up the feeling behind it all: it's been felt. Those words carried more weight than 100 drill bars. When the interviewer asked what he actually did with all that pain, Keef's response told the whole story. He did not sit around breaking it down or talking through it. In his world, you pack it up, keep moving, and stay focused because life around you keeps going whether you are ready or not. Where he came from, there was barely time to grieve properly. Before one loss could even settle in, another one might be right around the corner. That pressure shaped the mindset of a lot of young people growing up in those neighborhoods. Long before Keef became famous for music, there was someone else everyone around Parkway Gardens knew about. His name was O.D. Perry, born around 1991, a member connected to the Black Disciples from that area. Perry was not a rapper or entertainer. He was known more as a street figure in the neighborhood. In August 2011, Perry was shot during a confrontation near 64th Street and Martin Luther King Drive involving alleged rivals from another group. His passing shook the area deeply, and the neighborhood later began calling Parkway Gardens O Block in his memory. Keef was only 16 years old at the time. Moments like that left a serious mark on the environment around him and later showed up in his music. He referenced Perry in songs like 300, channeling the frustration and intensity that helped shape the early sound of drill music. No arrests were ever made in that earlier case, and the losses around Keef did not stop there. On January 2nd, 2013, tragedy hit again when his stepbrother was killed in Chicago at just 19 years old. Some sources identify him as Eli's GZ. At the time, Keef was on probation for a 2011 weapons charge, which meant he was not allowed to attend the funeral in person. Instead, he had to watch the service through FaceTime. Imagine that moment, seeing the ceremony through a phone screen while your own brother is being laid to rest. Keef later said that loss hit him especially hard and made him realize the city kept taking people from his circle. Then came another devastating moment after Blood Money's passing in April 2014. On July 11th, 2015, Marvin Carr, better known as Capo, was killed during a drive-by shooting on Chicago's South Side. Born April 22, 1993, Capo was a key member of GLO Gang and had appeared on projects like Back from the Dead 2 while building his own buzz with songs like Swag School. Reports said Capo was shot in the South Shore area and later passed away at Advocate Christ Medical Center at only 22 years old. People nearby tried to help before emergency crews arrived, and the news quickly spread across social media. But the tragedy did not end there. During the same incident, the fleeing vehicle struck a stroller and caused the death of 13-month-old Dylan Harris, a child who had nothing to do with the situation at all. The heartbreaking event shook the entire city, and 2 suspects were later arrested in connection with the case. Keef later tried to organize a hologram benefit concert to honor Capo's memory, but authorities shut the event down over safety concerns. Even an appearance as a projection on a screen was blocked, leaving fans shocked that the tribute could not happen, and the losses kept stacking up. In September 2015, Marquise Tan, known as Wolf the Boss, was found dead in Compton, California. Tan ran the Chief Keef Glow Shop cannabis dispensary and had become part of the crew through connections with Blood Money. Authorities said Tan and another man were discovered inside the shop after what investigators believed was a robbery that turned deadly. Tan was only 24 years old, adding another name to the long list of people Keef had lost along the way. This situation hit differently because it did not even happen in Chicago. It happened all the way in California, inside a business connected to Chief Keef's name. That shocked a lot of people because it showed how the problems surrounding the crew were not limited to one city anymore. The tension and danger had followed them across state lines. Then another heartbreaking moment arrived on June 19th. 2020, Kennica Trey Young, better known as Trey Savage, was shot while driving in South Chicago. Born July 4th, 1993, Trey Savage had been part of GLO Gang since the early days and appeared on projects like Back from the Dead. Fans also recognized him from tracks like Faces, which helped build his reputation in the drill scene. Trey Savage had survived previous shootings earlier in his life, but this time, the situation turned fatal. Reports said he was hit while driving and his vehicle crashed into parked cars nearby. He was only 26 years old and also a father. The case has remained unsolved, leaving many questions behind. Chief Keef posted tributes online after the news broke, calling Trey Savage his brother and showing love to someone who had been part of the movement from the beginning. But the names Keef mentioned did not stop there. He has also spoken about people like White Tone, and others whose stories never became national headlines but still left deep scars in the community. Their names might not trend online, yet their losses hit just as hard for the people who knew them. More names continue to add to that long list. Little Steve lost his life to gun violence around 2014. James Jamo Johnson, a GLO Gang affiliate, was killed in a 2015 shooting. Then in 2018, Fredo Santana, Chief Keef's cousin and longtime collaborator, passed away after a medical emergency connected to substance struggles. His death shook the drill community worldwide. When people step back and look at the bigger picture, the numbers are heavy. Dozens of artists connected to the drill scene have lost their lives since 2012, and many observers say the circle around Keef has been hit harder than most. Some call it a survival paradox. The reason Keef is still here today may simply be because he left Chicago and never stopped moving forward. That context is important when people watch Tato's viral clip now. Every watch on his wrist, every chain around his neck, and every bold message in that video carries a deeper history behind it. The past losses, the warnings, and the memories all sit quietly underneath the moment that just exploded across the internet. All of this is unfolding in a city where GLO Gang already has a painful history written into the streets. That history is exactly why people are paying such close attention to Tato's return. But the story takes an even stranger turn when you look at what started circulating years after Blood Money's funeral. Because the rumors about who might have been responsible did not always point toward outside rivals. Some of the talk that later spread online suggested something far more complicated. Possible betrayal from people who were supposed to be close. For years, Blood Money's case sat in the system like many others in Chicago. No arrests, no suspects publicly identified, and no clear answers for the family. Life kept moving, the city kept spinning, and Chief Keef stayed far away while the mystery remained unsolved. But around 2022, new accusations started surfacing within the online drill community that suddenly reopened the conversation. Clips, live streams, and social media debates began circulating with people making serious claims about what might have happened that night. One of the loudest voices was O-Block affiliate J Hood, who publicly spoke about the situation during interviews and online discussions. According to his claims, the people involved were not random enemies from a rival group. J Hood alleged that Troy T. Roy Martin and Davon King Von Bennett were responsible. His exact words during one discussion were that T. Roy and Von killed that dude no matter what they was. Those statements shocked a lot of fans and instantly spread across social media. But it is important to remember that these were allegations shared during interviews and discussions, not conclusions confirmed by investigators. In street slang, people sometimes use the term backdoor to describe betrayal from someone on the inside. The rumors suggested the possibility that the situation could have involved people connected through overlapping alliances. Whether those claims hold any truth has never been confirmed by law enforcement, but the conversation alone was enough to stir up years-old tensions and bring Blood Money's name right back into the spotlight again. And here is why those claims hit the internet like a grenade. King Von and Chief Keef were once seen as being cool with each other. In fact, there were photos and clips from a 2019 studio session where they were together working on music, looking like everything between them was solid. Both artists came from circles connected to O-Block in the same wider drill scene. But if the claims J Hood talked about were true, it would mean something far more complicated was happening behind the scenes. It would suggest that someone Keef had worked with and appeared friendly with might have been involved in the death of his own blood relative. That type of situation is exactly what people in street slang describe as a backdoor, where someone smiles in your face while serious betrayal is happening behind the scenes. Fans began digging into old lyrics looking for clues, and one line from King Von's track Evil Twins became a huge talking point online. In the song he raps, "My homie think I killed his cousin." Well, oh well, those words immediately caught the attention of listeners who started trying to connect the dots. Some fans speculated that if the homie in the line referred to Keef and the cousin referred to Blood Money, then the lyrics sounded extremely direct. Others argued it could simply be storytelling or typical drill rap bravado rather than a literal confession. The debate spread everywhere because drill music has a long history of artists referencing real-life events inside their lyrics. Sometimes those lines end up being analyzed heavily by fans, bloggers, and even investigators in certain cases. Because of that history, Von's lyric became one of the most discussed bars connected to the rumor. The internet ran with it, breaking down every word and trying to match it with old stories from the streets. Another rumor people pointed to involved a possible earlier conflict. Some online discussions claim Blood Money may have been involved in a confrontation where someone connected to O-Block was injured during a robbery tied to a property linked to Keef's circle. If those stories were true, some fans believed it could have created a motive for retaliation, but none of those theories have ever been officially confirmed by investigators. What remains clear is that the rumors, lyrics, and street stories combine to create one of the most debated mysteries in drill culture. And even years later, people are still arguing about what really happened. The people accused in those rumors were also individuals who had connections to the same wider circle as Keef. That kind of connection would have meant access and familiarity. Blood Money would not necessarily be on high alert around people who moved within the same extended network as his own cousin. That is why fans online kept using the word backdoor. In street slang, it means the danger comes from the direction you would least expect. Someone who looks friendly on the outside but may actually be working against you behind the scenes. For years, those rumors stayed quiet in the background of drill discussions. But fast forward to the mid-2020s, and suddenly the conversation exploded again. The spark came when Chief Keef began collaborating with NBA YoungBoy. That partnership immediately stirred debate online because of older conflicts connected to both camps. Here's where the situation gets complicated. NBA. YoungBoy's affiliate Lul Tim was the person involved in the 2020 incident where King Von lost his life during an altercation in Atlanta. So when Keef linked up with YoungBoy years later, some people connected to O-Block saw it as a betrayal. Their argument was simple. How could Keef work with someone tied to the situation that led to Von's death? But supporters of GLO Gang flipped that question around just as fast. They started asking a different question entirely. If the rumors about Blood Money were true, then how close were those relationships really in the first place? Around February 2026, Keef made a move online that many fans interpreted as a statement without words. He changed his profile picture to an image of Blood Money. There was no caption, no explanation, no long message, just the photo sitting there for everyone to see. That single image sparked intense debate across social media. Some GLO Gang affiliates began speaking more openly about old tensions, with figures like King Yella repeating the claim that Von had backdoored Blood Money. Another GLO gang member, Main, even said publicly that GLO gang no longer rocks with O Block. At that point, the sides looked clearer than ever, and fans across the drill community were watching every move closely. Then there is the music Chief Keef released afterward. One track in particular, Avoid That Boy, quickly caught fans' attention. Listeners immediately started connecting the lyrics to the rumors about betrayal and old tensions between camps. The song includes lines like, "That's the same dude my cousin punched. Hope you pass away out of town like your bro." Those words instantly had people online trying to figure out who the message was aimed at. Some listeners believed it could be directed at King Von, who passed away in Atlanta far from Chicago. If that interpretation is correct, then Keef was doing something drill artists have done for years, putting real feelings and conflicts into music. In that culture, lyrics sometimes become a way to send messages while letting the audience debate and decode the meaning. But not everyone agrees with that entire narrative. Some members of Blood Money's family and people connected to Front Street have pushed back against the rumors circulating online. According to statements repeated in discussions, they believe the person responsible died years earlier, long before King Von became a major figure in the rap world. Some other voices online have offered completely different theories as well. One user known as Ang O Block claimed that someone else connected to a group called Young Money was responsible instead. The truth is that outside of the people directly involved, nobody knows the full story with certainty. And in a city where many cases remain unsolved for years, that uncertainty leaves room for endless speculation. Even without confirmed answers, the rumors alone have reshaped how many fans view the relationships between these different camps in the drill scene. They also helped explain why Keef seemed comfortable collaborating with NBA YoungBoy while distancing himself from certain Chicago connections. And that is what brings the story right back to the present moment with Tato in February 2026. Because when he stands on those Chicago blocks wearing chains and watches on camera, fans are not just seeing someone showing off jewelry, they are seeing a member of GLO gang representing a crew that has lost a long list of people over the years. Names like Odie Perry, Keef's stepbrother, Blood Money, Capo, Wolf DeBoss, Trey Savage, and many others still echo through that history. Every one of those losses adds another layer to why people are paying such close attention to what happens next. Now the story circles right back to Tato. He is standing on blocks where some of the same names tied to old conflicts once moved around. He is calling out 600 directly, talking about suitcases and bodies ending up out of state and letting the entire internet hear it loud and clear. The message he gave in that clip sounded like GLO gang is not quiet and not disappearing anytime soon. Think about the timeline for a second. Back in 2014, Blood Money came home to celebrate success and was shot on a Chicago sidewalk. That moment changed everything for Chief Keef and pushed him to build his life far away from the city. Fast forward to 2026, and now Tato shows up in Chicago again, flashing 4 watches and heavy chains on camera. He is talking tough, letting everyone know he is outside and ready for whatever comes with it. The faces may change, the jewelry might be different, and even the exact locations shift over time. But the pattern people online keep pointing to still feels familiar. A GLO gang member leaves Chicago, time passes, and then another one shows up again, making noise in the same city that already holds so much history for that crew. Chief Keef figured that equation out years ago, which is why he built his life in Los Angeles instead of staying in the middle of it all. Meanwhile, Tato is stepping right back into the spotlight in the same environment that shaped the entire drill movement. With the old rumors still unresolved, tensions between different camps still being debated online, and Tato standing back on those Chicago blocks again, people are watching closely to see what happens next. If you found this breakdown interesting, make sure you like the video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into stories like this.